Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. We're doing a transfer special because of the deadline that happened last night. I mean, lots of great signings for the clubs. Adil, which signing got you most excited? Go on.
I'll say Ericsson.
That's a diplomatic answer, I'd say.
Yeah. What's diplomatic about it?
Uh,
It's a real feel good factor
oh yeah, yeah.
story.
Oh yeah.
You
This is
know,
not what
so,
we expect. This is not what we expect from you.
and
um, go on. Sorry.
I was just saying, it's just a nice story, isn't it? That
Yeah.
Ericsson, 15 minutes apparently he was dead. His heart stopped working for him to come back to the Premiership with a club that's got a lot of links to Denmark, and it's good. The manager's Danish.
He managed him. Is I think under 17 or something, didn't he? So.
Oh yeah, some youth at some youth team, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But let's get down to the business and the nitty-gritty. Let's start with Liverpool. Luis Diaz, 49 million with add-ons. What did you make of that transfer?
Yeah, real positive transfer. Haven't really seen too much of him, to say the truth, but since the signing, looks like another Jota. It really extreme pace, great at dribbling, fierce at aggressive pressing. You couldn't handpick a player that fits the mold for Klopp and this Liverpool team. And I think it's a very smart move. It really does strengthen their hand in negotiations with Salah. And you think if just imagine, I don't know whether he's ready. I know he's played for Colombia in Argentina just the other day, so I don't know if he'll be ready. But just imagine, I think they're not playing until next weekend.
No, next week on Thursday, I believe. I think
the weekend coming, yeah. Is it?
Yeah, they're not. The FA Cup is coming up, and then they're gonna play.
Yeah, so so just imagine he's potentially got at least 2 weeks, 2 games. Just imagine if he starts those 2 games firing.
Yeah,
it's gonna put pressure on Salah's camp in the negotiation.
Do you think that kind of played a part in this deal as well? And do you think that's why they scooped him up even quicker? Because I mean, Tottenham were interested in him as well.
I don't think it played a part, but I think he was the player they wanted in the summer. Because you gotta understand they haven't actually replaced Shaqiri.
No.
And they sold it. They haven't replaced anyone they've sold. So, really, when you think about backup for Salah, they were playing Elia a bit more, but really he's not like to get him into team, they're playing him in midfield. So he's clearly not good enough to play as a winger. So I just think now they've got a replacement for that position now when Salah isn't available or when they choose to do something different.
Can he play both the left, right, and through the middle as well? Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he can. I think he like most of the signings that Liverpool get in their attack, they're quite flexible. The other thing is, if there's anyone that he's not comfortable playing, he will become comfortable playing because Klopp is very good at improving players and making sure that they can move around.
It's just a frightening prospect, isn't it? Could you imagine Salah, Mane, Diaz, Jota, all 4? It's like it's made to kill anyone.
Well, that post where all the Liverpool fans are sending about his top speed, and that's frightening. When you think his top speed is much more than Salah and Mane, it's like, oh my gosh! Just imagine if they get those 4 on the pitch.
I mean, they're already a threat as it is on the counter, etc. And you add this guy to the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that. I mean, I would have said might be the fastest top line, but then I was just thinking after what Barcelona have done, I don't know. They got Adama Traore, Aubameyang, and Ferran Torres. So they were
And
all three are meant to be
no,
rapid
they
too.
are fast, but I think that Liverpool front four is history. Even I mean, Jota might be not that quick, but on the ball he's rapid.
Yeah, his dribbling,
His
dribbling
dribbling
speed
speed
is
is
something else.
amazing.
So yeah, again, excellent signing, exciting for the Premier League. I think it strengthens, obviously strengthens their options as within the squad, but also their hand in negotiations. So, and I think they're kind of, I think the club has a lot to thank Tottenham for, because if Tottenham did not have a price and a deal fixed with the player, Liverpool would not have brought anybody. And you can tell the Liverpool fan base had just about had enough of the club not signing anyone and the owners not investing in the club. And I think it's going to take some of the heat away. Not totally, but it has taken some of the heat away because, as we've seen,
You can tell the
the Liverpool
excitement.
fans are dubious about it. And it's a top signing. It's a good player. He looks exciting.
I mean, they almost pulled off another signing, Carvalho, from Fulham for 8 million. Broke down
Yeah,
last minute. But do you reckon this is something they're going to do similar to Harvey Elliott, where he goes to the tribunal and then they pay some money off to Fulham?
I think the rumors coming out is they may continue to negotiate with Fulham and get, because they agreed a deal of 8 mil. So if Liverpool were willing to pay that and Fulham accepted it, then you'd think they'd accept that deal for the summer anyway, rather than go through tribunal. So the two clubs may still do a deal in the summer rather than go to a tribunal, because ultimately Fulham's hands are tied because they know the player has agreed to join Liverpool.
Yeah.
So is there any point in probably fighting it, because the sticky point was around the loan back, loaning him back. Obviously, Fulham don't want to disrupt their chances of getting promoted. They're top. They've got a healthy gap. Carvalho's a key part to their attack. They've been on fire recently, scoring 4 or 5 goals every other game. Carvalho has been a key part to that. So they don't want to disrupt their promotion push. Ultimately, Liverpool might end up getting him for a couple of mils less in the summer now. But for Fulham, if they get promoted, how much more? They always say promotion to the Premier League is worth 150 mil.
Yeah.
So to do the math, it makes sense that Fulham didn't agree to the transfer if there wasn't a good loan back option.
But in terms of Liverpool, I mean, what type of player are they getting in him, really? Because I mean, it seems to be
I think it is very similar to what you see in Diaz, and he looks like Coutinho, and he's got that shot that Coutinho has, which is bending it around. His right foot is very good, but really pacey, really good at dribbling, intelligent player, knows when to play the pass, release the ball. Just a real good player. And yeah, I mean, they are definitely building and planning for the future and doing good succession planning, really.
That's what I was just about to say. I mean, are they planning for the future? That's what it seems like for when Mane and Salah move on, really.
Yeah, I mean, they're all coming towards the back end of their peak years, and I think they're starting to hit 30 years old. Liverpool isn't the type of club that really does players retiring. To get it, they normally do sell before they, I think maybe Carragher's the only last one that's maybe retired playing for the club. Gerrard went to the Galaxy and wherever else, so they don't really do that. So I'm not sure those players are going to, Mane or Salah, are going to end up staying at Liverpool till the end of their career. So yeah, they're very good planning, I think. And I think it's taken off a lot of heat that the fans would have had for the summer
Yeah,
because, they would have been under immense pressure.
smart business by Liverpool. I mean, let's move on to the other team who's been really busy, really. 2 in, 4 out, Tottenham. Let's talk about the incomings first, then we'll get to the outgoing. I mean, Kuleveski, 8.3 million loan fee, 18 months, and then with the obligation to buy for 29 million, and then you got Bentancur for 20 million. What do you make of them two?
But I think Bentancur is suited to the Premiership. Box to box combative midfielder, really good. I think he suits Conte. He's aggressive. He likes to tackle, get stuck in. Bentancur is one of those players I've always liked because he can do a bit of everything. But you also feel like because he can spray the pass, he's got an eye, he can do little dig chips, so he can do some of the playmaker stuff as well. He kind of gets confused in his role in the team because he tries doing a bit of everything. Basically a much better version of Fred. You get it? So sometimes because he's got a bit of everything in his game, I do feel like that's what slowed him down too.
I mean, 20 million is a snippet, really.
Yeah, and Conte is the manager to fix his style and really get him to just do it, because everyone knows one thing every player has said who plays for Conte is he makes sure you fully understand what he wants from you and what you should be doing for the team. There's no blurred lines. It's very black and white with Conte, and it's very clear. So I think that will definitely help Bentancur. He's easily better than any of the midfielders they have. So I think that's a very good signing.
Only a potential
price.
Yeah, potential lineup with the what's his name, Højbjerg.
Yeah, but I mean, Bentancur is a very good player. He can do everything in the game. He suits the Premiership, loves to tackle, loves to box. I think he's going to be an excellent addition. Kulusevski is a direct player, direct runner. He's a bit, you give him the ball and he's going to cut across and get onto his left foot and look to, he takes lots of shots, likes to drive at the defense. It's going to be more interesting because of the system that Conte was playing with this Tottenham. There's that question mark. Does this signal that they're potentially going to a different system, a different formation? I don't know.
Well, can he not play as
why would you get him? Sorry?
Can he not play as one of the top three? Because I mean, he can play as a 10 as well. So you could play Son, then you got him on the right.
Yeah, but they don't really play as wide players. They play more like 2 10s coming in or inside forwards. So yeah, he can definitely play that role, but every away game Conte doesn't play with the 3. He plays with just the 2 and goes for an extra midfielder. So it's a lot of money for a player who you're not planning on play, or the system won't allow him or Song. One of the big guys are going to miss out. If you buy someone for 32 million,
we
all know
it's an option to buy.
Kane, if they fit, they're starters.
It's an option to buy, so then they're not forced into buying it.
So it's an option. Yeah, another player that kind of suits the Premiership. He's direct. He likes to run. He's got no problems getting physical, no problem getting in. Running, and he likes to take lots of shots. So
has he got a point to prove? Obviously, he was, I think, young player of the year. I think the 1920 season in Serie A. So and then he got the big move to Juventus, but never really kicked on.
Not really, because when he did play, he did okay. It's just he never got the chance, really. And it wasn't that he played terrible or there was a huge loss of form and he didn't look like the player he was. When he played, he was effective, but it was a team with too many players in the same position. They go into managers that play totally different systems as well. So you got Pirlo, then now you got Allegri again, and Allegri's gone back to Dybala, and so Juventus have a kind of identity crisis because when they signed him, they signed him to replace Bernardeschi, then they didn't get rid of Bernardeschi. So now he's behind Bernardeschi in the pecking order. So yeah, his best position is right side, cutting in.
In terms of obviously income is obviously they got them to probably needed because they needed a bit more firepower up front and they definitely needed a midfielder. But did Conte miss out on like wing backs because that seemed to be a real problem for them?
Well, it's obvious he wanted a right-sided wing back who has pace, or he wanted a. That's why I think maybe he is maybe planning to go to a three up top system, because if you look at the players they went for, they're all out and out wingers more than wing backs. So maybe he is planning to go to four at the back and play a more traditional either 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. I have a feeling he may be choosing to go down a 4-2-3-1 route. That would make sense with the players they've targeted. And that would then also make sense why they didn't potentially go for centre back or right wing back. They went for Adama Traore, they went for Luis Diaz. So they clearly actually were prioritizing a right-sided winger. So Kulusevski is a right-sided winger. Difference is left-footed. So he cut in.
I mean, at one point it seemed like they were missing out on all the top transfers that Conte really wanted because of, I don't know, Levy's penny pinching.
Yeah, I mean, it says everything you need to know when Liverpool come in and straight away their first bid is better in terms of installments than what Tottenham would do. Because the thing is, when a negotiation gets so drawn out, and it's not about the fee, it's about the installments and the makeup installments and how much is every year. Everyone gets fed up. Everyone just starts thinking, do you really want to? How much do you really want me?
Yeah.
Because once everything is agreed, but then you start fighting about the details, then players start thinking they don't really want me, or why is this taking so long? Why is it dragging on? And the other thing is, it allows other clubs to go in. It allows the selling club to invite offers from other clubs, which is what Wolves did with Adama Traore. Because
I mean, they got a really good deal out of that.
Yeah, protracting negotiations just gets frustrating for everyone. People want to sell and then already know what they have to work with to get a replacement. Now, taking so long, agreeing that the installments just makes you want to definitely find someone else better to sell to, which has happened now on 2 occasions.
With both, really. I mean,
and the interesting thing is that's the third player Paratici has signed that he already signed for another club. He signed Romero for Atlanta, and he's the guy who brought in Kulusevski and Betancourt to Juventus. So he's going for guys that he knows and guys that he's already got links with. I don't know if that's a positive or negative. It seems like he's missing all his targets and then ends up going to a market and a space where he's comfortable with and he knows the people. But there's a lot of players he doesn't know.
Do you think that other deal was? I mean, I don't think it's down to him about the tanking of the Luis deal and the Adama Traore. That's down to Levy.
Yeah, well, everyone knows. Every rumor before the last 5 days of the transfer window is fake when it comes to Spurs, because they only negotiate and they only do transfers right at the end of the window. Why? The prices are down. They want to catch basement signings and want to get good players for cheaper. Why? Because clubs are desperate to sell.
Get rid of him, yeah.
So that's the market they work at. They've operated like that for many years successfully, so you can't really knock it. You know, they've managed to pick up good players for good prices with that method. And they're going to continue to do that as long as the club is growing, as long as they are still looking like a top 4 team, that's looking like they're potentially progressing. I can't see any reason why Levy would want to change that approach. It's working.
Yeah, no, definitely. In terms of outgoings, I mean, they've got 4 players gone out. Ali gone to Everton, we'll discuss that. Gil gone to Valencia, and then you've got Ndombele going back to Lyon again with an option to buy for 54 million, which, I mean, sounds a bit
which
crazy.
ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
Hence, it's an option. You might as well not mention that option. Lyon don't spend that type of money, so it's not gonna happen.
And Lascelles going to I forgot, I think Villarreal, that's it.
Yeah. I think the Ndombele one says a lot. Like, he just has not settled in England. The fact that he went back to Lyon is casts a doubt about his ability for me to get comfortable and settle in other climates and other habitats. You know, when you go back to the club you left, and you left saying all these, you know, moving to next stage and next phase of your career and bigger, better things, you know, it does cast a doubt on, you know, where's your ceiling? Can you actually hack it at the top level? Because you failed so miserably. And
do you think the pressure was too much? I mean, considering it was the club record buy.
I just think he played for the wrong manager. Really, he came in there, and soon after it was Mourinho, and Mourinho just killed his confidence. And after that, he just never settled down and never got over it. It just feels like the tough love that he got from Mourinho killed him, and he never recovered. But again, that looks bad on a player that he just could not get it. And then who have they got? They've got another hard taskmaster, a guy who, you know, expects standards, and he has definitely better man management skills, but is a taskmaster. You know, did you think about has Ndombele potentially ruined his potential for ever going to a club that has a top manager that demands high standards? Because I'm sure those managers will now question it, and hence why he didn't have much of a market and has gone back to Lyon. Because, you know, I could see him going to PSG because Pochettino isn't that type of manager. But you look at the best managers, the Klopps, Pep, you know, Conte, Mourinho, you know, they work you hard. They expect you to give your all. There's no slouching, there's no slacking, there's no, you know, it's relentless.
He just seems like those one of those guys. He hasn't got that intensity in him to kind of like push to that next level or take that next step.
No, let's be honest. He's a bit soft for defensive midfielder. I don't think.
Well, he started playing as a number 10, so I don't know.
Yeah, so that kind of tells you how much you know, they've lost confidence in his ability. Yeah, it's a bit surprising. He looked so good at Lyon, but then when you think about it, he looked so good on the ball.
Yeah.
In a team that had a lot of other playmakers and played possession football, you know, so, and that the league, even though it has strong and athletic players, the tempo of football is very slow. It's not fast-paced football. So, yeah, I think Italy would have been a good move for him. Going to Italian league, he could have shone because it's not so physical. But, yeah, you have to question whether he can handle physicality. I'm more Lo Celso makes sense. If he's not part of your plans, get him out on loan.
Yeah,
there's a market there where, you know, Villarreal play good football. He'll get interest going there. That one makes sense. And obviously the Dele Alli. There's another one you mentioned.
Yeah, Brian Gill gone to Valencia. I mean, he really needs to put some weight
Yeah.
on.
So what that says is the signings that they made the last two summer just proves how bad
They
they've
were.
been. You're literally loaning out all those players from that regime. So from and yeah, it just shows how much they've burnt, wasted money because they paid over the odds for nearly all of those players.
Yeah.
Lo Celso was quite a bit of money, and Dembele ridiculous money.
Well, let's also
And
been
even
there
Man,
for a while, hasn't
they lost Lamela. You look at that Lamela's,
he? Yeah.
worth a fair bob. So straight swap there or something.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot you've lost out. Yeah.
But
So
let's talk about big deadline day transfer, Dele Alli, potentially rising to 40 million. I mean, after 20 games, they're gonna pay 10 million Everton to Tottenham the next season.
So
What
this confirms is not only is Levy a pain in the backside when it comes to bidding for players and buying players, he's a pain in the backside even when he wants to get rid of a player. Like he's negotiated installments to such a level that it can potentially go to 40 million. It's like only I think Levy is in a league of his own when it comes to these type of negotiations, man. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And they literally longed it out until after he took it so far the deal sheet had to go in.
Yeah.
That's when you know what? This club is just a piss-taking club because everyone knows Everton are easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Ken Wright doesn't mess about.
But
all the way to a deal sheet going in because of the details of this 40 mil and like.
But when I first had 40 million, I was shocked. And that 40 million for Ali was like completely out of form. But then obviously all the details came out of how the deal is, and I was like, okay, all right, it makes a lot of sense now. But in terms of Ali, I mean, is this the right move for him? Can he resurrect his career?
Well, obviously 2 points. He's gone to Everton, ties in well with Lampard going in. Clearly, that's had an effect that the manager is Lampard, and we're seeing that trend where Gerrard going to Aston Villa has attracted more players and made the club more attractive to sign for. And Lampard has the same effect because it's a generational thing. These are players they looked up to, played against, respect. So it's easier because that link is already there. It's someone they know, they respect. So for Everton, it's a good sign, but again, it's confused me. For Dele Alli, obviously, it's a good move because he just needed to get out of Tottenham.
It's confused in what sense? Sorry.
In the sense that they just signed Donny van de Beek on loan, who is again very similar to Dele Alli in the sense that goal scoring midfielder, cannot play in a CM. So can only either play as the advanced midfielder in a 3-man midfield or the 10 or second striker.
Yeah.
So not good enough to be a central midfielder. Not entirely suited to be number 10 who is a playmaker. It's more like a second striker. So then both players are in this kind of same boat. So you're thinking, is Lampard planning to play a system with 2 10s? Or I don't know. It seems like they ended up getting 2 very similar players. I'm sure both of them are expected to play. And yeah, for both of them, I'd like to see them get minutes. It'd be really cool if Van der Beek is on the bench because Ali's taking his spot. Like, I think after everything's gone to United, he deserves minutes. Then Dele Alli the same. Everyone wants him to get back to the form that he was showing 2-3 years ago.
He got his father-in-law involved just to get a transfer move, and even then he ended up.
Yeah, but it just shows how bad his play was, his situation was at United. You got a team that's struggling, and he can't even come off the bench when they're struggling. He's not even the options off the bench. Because the system that Ragnick plays doesn't actually have a position for him. So, yeah, I think he's genuinely concerned, and a lot of these loans. Why were there so many loans? Is because they're players that want to be playing in the World Cup and know this 6 months is what's gonna. The World Cup's in November. The squads are going to be decided pretty much before the season starts. No one's going to be like, oh, let's see the form in the first 2 weeks of the season, because they have to announce the squad straight away after that. They're going to have friendlies soon after that. So, the World Cup starts in November. There's a month prep before that.
Yeah.
You're gonna announce the squad before that. So we're already looking at 2 weeks of the season, and then that's it, really. So most national teams will have their squad sorted
or an
with
idea
what
of
goes on
squad, yeah.
right now, end of this season and the summer, and that's it. It's not really based off how anyone starts the season, and they know that. These players know that, and if they got any ambitions to play in a World Cup, you have to ask for that transfer. You have to get your father-in-law involved if you have to. So good on Van der Beek. I think he deserves game time.
But I mean, in terms of Everton and the new manager, what do you make of that signing? Because Lampard hasn't really proven much. I know obviously he done well at Derby, but again, that's.
But I don't have a problem, because I think in terms of the profile and where the club is at and how disenfranchised it is, it's the smart choice, because it became obvious that's who the fans wanted. That's who the board wanted. Maybe not who the owner wanted. But we've been down this way. We spoke about it last week, how it's such a disenfranchised club in the sense that there's so much disunity, because the board most of the board are the people that were there for years.
It still is, yeah.
It's not the owners, people inside the club. So what happens is they're only interested in pleasing the fans, but they don't really have a clue about football. Yeah. And you know what happens when people who don't have a clue about football and are given the license to spend someone else's money they waste it. Yeah. So it's a bad mix. And then you got Duncan Ferguson, the whisperer, the spy inside every manager's camp, feeding everything back to the board every time there's something they don't like or that is different. It's just the whole setup, and that's why the reason why I think ultimately will fail, but it lasts a lot longer than any of the other managers. It might take 2 years before it fails, but I still think it will fail because they're not changing the structure. So now that I saw the picture of Duncan Ferguson still in Lampard's first team, coaching group,
yeah,
I knew it's going to be another failure, because you're forcing managers to have spies. That already undermines you. That already means the board just can't let you get on with it, and they don't fully trust you. That's why they need to have their own man and people in the first team coaching. Then you got still a boardroom that is happy to take the money of the owner, but doesn't agree or have the same philosophy in terms of ambition and the way they want to run the club. And then you got a fan base that has gone excited by having money. Let's be honest, they've outspent a lot of other clubs. They've probably outspent Liverpool over the last 4 or 5 years. So they, in their own mind, they're thinking, we've got money, we're a big club. We had Ancelotti at Champions League.
New stadium.
Got that inflated ego syndrome.
Yeah.
And they become big time impatient. Now, Lampard ticks a lot of the boxes in terms of if it fits the profile that the fans want, which is, they got this big aspirations of being a big club, but he's a big name.
Yeah.
No matter what, he is a big name.
I know, of
So
course he is, but
he's British, something that the last few managers were, and you can see how that it didn't quite work out. So and then he's the board's choice, not the owner's choice. So I think he'll have more of a chance to succeed, but ultimately the structure of the club is still crazy, and I think that'll be his downfall. One thing I do have an issue with though is this thing everyone keeps going on about. He done well at Derby.
yeah,
He didn't do anything more special than so many other championship managers, because he was given money, and he was given money. They chased the dream. They look at where Derby is now.
yeah,
They spent money they never had. They falsified, their tax records. They weren't paying the taxman to please Lampard and give him the signing that he wanted. So he got supported, and he got them to the playoff. That is no big deal. If you're gonna rave about Lampard, then rave about those other managers on low budget that are getting clubs into the championship playoffs. Because championship playoff is not a barometer to say you're a good manager and you've done a good job, especially when you got given money. And it's only because he's a big name that he's being given so much credit for what he done at Derby. Let's be honest. Look at the facts and the stats.
true.
If we're gonna say he's done so well at Derby, then you know what? There's a lot of special managers. Steve Cooper being one of them.
He's good.
When he was at Swansea, no money. What he's getting them into the playoffs and playoff finals every year. There's so many other good managers in the championship that are, would you ever say Chris Wilder is a better manager than Lampard? You wouldn't. Well, most people wouldn't, but he definitely is.
Yeah,
Because it's on a lower budget, he's managed to achieve more. He didn't just get playoff; he got promoted. So I just think this myth around him doing an amazing job in Derby, it annoys me. He didn't do an amazing job. They were given money. Probably their ambition was actually automatic promotion, but they spun it in the sense that, he's turned it around because they had such a bad season last year. Well, look at the money they spent. Look at the players they got. Look at the amount of support he got as a manager while he was at Derby. Maybe playoff was a failure and not getting actually promoted.
I understand all that side, but do you reckon it's the right move for him? Because does this fit his style of play, or does it suit him, this role?
Thing is, how many other enticing job roles is there? If you're gonna pick a club to sign for, you're gonna pick Everton, you're gonna pick Aston, you're gonna pick clubs that actually will back you and fund you. They're not bad. They're excellent fan base. Got an exciting new stadium going. I'm saying all this about Everton, but let's be honest, they are a big club. They were the team of the 80s. They were winning the leagues and competing in Europe in the 80s. They're not a small club. They're a huge club. They got a huge fan base. They got a loyal fan base. That's one of the best stadiums to go to when the fans are on song. Most intimidating places to go to. It's like Brentford. It's like, you don't want to, it's not an easy game playing going to Everton, good distance. So there ain't many. I think he's lucky. I think it's a great club to be a manager for. There ain't many that can be that exciting and can give you such a good opportunity to show your skill set.
Got a point to prove, hasn't he? In terms of next team, Newcastle. Where do we start? 93 million they spend on 5 players. One of them is a loan. Let's start with Bruno Guimaraes. What do you make of him? Everyone's raving about him.
I still can't believe Newcastle managed to get him. When I first heard that, I thought no chance. How are they gonna get Guimaraes? This guy
came out from Leon President, didn't it? And everyone's like,
I'm telling you, this guy is a superstar, man. He's an absolute gem of a signer. I cannot believe that no one else went. And I tell you what, you have to give kudos to Newcastle. They managed to. He is a superstar player. I mean, I've seen him quite a few times play for Brazil, the younger teams of Brazil, and in the Olympics. I mean, this guy is very, very good. He can do everything.
Is it someone
Possession,
that
he
can
can
build around?
tackle. He's silky on the ball. He's a very, very good player. I mean, he's good under the press. Just really surprised that you know, energy, tireless, and workhorse, everything he wants. So I'm really surprised they've got him, someone of that caliber. I mean, yeah, I think we will all enjoy watching him. Hopefully, he doesn't have any issues with injuries and anything. And you will get to see his qualities, but he will stand out. He's a standout player.
I mean, in terms of, do you reckon that's one that they're going to build the team around? Like in
Yeah, I mean, his style is like that. He dominates the position. He wants the ball all the time. He's not afraid of taking it under pressure. He will transform the way they play just single-handedly, because if they don't, then he's not going to see the ball, because he dictates the game. He dictates the play. He's a deep line playmaker. You know, he's not. He's a more combative version of Hassam Owa, who everyone rates. You know, he can do everything Owa can do, and more. So I just think, yeah, Newcastle should have more possession now with him in the team. And the other signings, I think, are smart signings. You know, they're playing Guy Ritchie at left back, and who's actually a winger.
Matt Ritchie, yeah. Guy Ritchie. I was like, you're talking about
Guy Ritchie. I still got the gentleman in my head. Great movie. No, yeah. So that's a good signing target, because he's still better than what they have.
Yeah.
And we know Lewis is injured, and you know, really been erratic in his performances. So I think that's a good move. Dan Burns is a good move, solid centre back. I mean, better than what they have again.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for. And he's a Geordie lad, so you know, it's this boyhood club. I think that's a good signing. I think Wood, because of the circumstances, might have been overpriced, but it's still a good signing for where they're at. Ultimately, it's harder to tempt top-class strikers to come to a relegation battle. So I can understand the price and them just getting him in.
Yeah.
So that made sense.
But I mean, have they got everything they wanted? Really? Do you think?
Well, they clearly wanted a second striker.
Yeah.
Which kind of tells me, and this is the only thing that worries me about what Eddie Howe's doing, is it seems like he's doing the exact same template that he did at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
It seems like he's going to a 4-4-2 or, you know, a 4-4-1-1, which is what he did at Bournemouth, and everything is the same. So he's going for, you know, deep line playmakers or combative defensive midfielders. He's going for a left-sided centre back, like he did with Aki. You know, it's the same template. It seems like, you know, trying to get, you know, Jesse Lingard or Ekitike, or whichever one is, but
call him Hugo.
Both, you know, they're both guys that can play 10, that can play up top, can play on the shoulders as a second striker if they need. So he clearly wanted a 10 or another striker. So I won't be surprised if he suddenly starts going to that 4-4-1-1 type, because that's what he was really working towards. But maybe not getting the 10 might change his plans. Might go to 4-4-2 with, you know, when Callum Wilson's back. I think he wanted that flexibility clearly. So yeah, they definitely did get everything they wanted. Surprised they didn't go for another centre back.
That's what I was gonna say, because
Lascelles
injury prone
in his prime was a very good defender, and he's still a good defender, but he's not, you know, he's not fit enough. He's not what he was a few years ago. You know, he looks a bit like he's run down, and maybe, you know, maybe this rest might get him fully fit, but he seemed like he's a guy who's been through quite a few injuries.
Yeah,
And starting to, his levels slowly dropping.
it's been.
So I felt like they needed another centre back.
But do you reckon they have enough to kind of keep them up? Because I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely. I mean, I can't overstate. Guimaraes is a superstar.
But
is
Trippier,
who's got amazing mentality.
His goal's going to be the problem.
Mentality. Burns, who's got good mentality. I think they've done very good signings. Don't forget, they still have Saint Maximin, who is an X Factor player. They don't need to worry about. They have to worry about being defensively solid. Well, and just getting the ball into Saint Maximin. Guimaraes will get the ball to Saint Maximin. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, I mean, big game coming for them because I mean it's Lampard versus Eddie Howe.
Excellent first game for both, isn't it? Really, what a game!
What a game to look forward to straight away.
I'm just going to be watching Newcastle mods for Guimaraes. That's got me. I hope he adapts to the Premier League and shows his quality.
Let's see. I mean, it's a big jump. It's a big jump from.
I've bigged him up, so I need him to.
No pressure, Adil. Let's look at the other team. I mean, Arsenal were kind of linked with the Guimaraes, but they didn't get him. They were linked with Vlahovic, didn't get him. I mean, seemed like they were linked with everyone in the market, but didn't get anyone apart from getting rid of Aubameyang.
Well, it's a similar story to Tottenham in the sense that they're negotiating, and a lot of their negotiations is always about the amount of installments and how long they get to pay the transfer fee that's agreed and stuff like that. I said last podcast, bit of a risk, a bit worried. They seem to be getting rid of players, but after thinking about it, I realized, those players weren't players Arteta was using or even keeping in the squad much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think in terms of maybe the feeling around the club, it's damaging because sometimes even if a manager ain't using those players and it makes financial sense to move a player on, you forget the value those players have and the friendships and the relationships that they're leaving behind and what they used to do day to day and in the dressing room and at the club and in training. And, seems like there's some characters that they've lost that maybe they were popular amongst the squad. Kolasinac always seemed like a popular player. Mari seemed like a bit of a leader. Chambers seems like another leader stroke a popular player. So that I would more be worried about maybe have they lost a lot of characters and the next few training sessions or the next match where they see a lot of these characters who kind of are leaders stroke bubbly people not there. It just makes it a bit more empty. It's a risk. I mean, these are the things no one really thinks about, but when you're a manager you realize the value of that person had outside of just his playing ability and the financials and all of that. You forget there's other elements that these players bring, and definitely in terms of just the image. We know that affects. We know how much just assigning really excites the players, not just the fan bases.
As a fan, like it feels like a lot of players gone. Like it feels like the squad is light. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of got like a negative vibe, and that's the problem. I think
players will feel that
whether he rubs off to the players,
they will feel it. And I'm telling you, it happens when a lot of big people, a lot of guys who have been there for so long leave. You do miss them. I mean, it does feel a bit strange. It's a bit of an adjustment. Now, don't tell me Arsenal players aren't going to feel that. I mean, they're all big characters.
Yeah.
And they're all guys who have been there. Other than Mari, I mean, Kolasinac has been there for so many years. Chambers been there for many years, So it seems like the club is going through a big, transition again. And I don't know. I think it's a bit risky. I think, the mood that you're feeling, and that's going to be felt by the players. I think the players are going to feel that.
I think it's
I think it was really important for them to get someone, so the players feel like, because I've seen it, and it's happened at other clubs where you feel like, oh, that's another one gone, but that doesn't mean you got a weak mentality. That's just natural, that you're questioning and you're thinking and you're looking around and thinking, well, who's coming in to help us? We need the help. We need someone else.
Yeah.
And there has to be that question, and then you still got contract issues with Lacazette and Nketiah. And I just think they may have played this really badly.
Yeah,
that's what it seems. Because how are you relying on two players that are going to potentially be moving on?
Well, Adi, let me say this to you. Between Eddie and Nketiah and I think Lacazette, I think they scored 3 or 4 goals. Which we let go of Aubameyang. Obviously, there's issues in the background, etc. He scored, I think, 6 or 7. So that shows, the problems we have, and you can see in the game against Burnley.
But I think one, they've changed the system since they've come in. They are playing a false 9. It's obvious Lacazette is playing more like a playmaker, than he is a striker, and he is getting the ball to Saka and Martinelli and other players. So
who's going to score?
Since Lacazette's coming out, I'm sure Arsenal have been scoring more.
No, they have.
Maybe not. I'm not sure.
You can
so
see.
It's not really about personnel, is it? It's not. It doesn't really matter about individual stats if the team is scoring more, winning more. Because again, that comes down to tweaking of the system. With Nketiah, it might be a bit harsh because it's not like he's getting game time. But we know he's missed some seriously big open goals, So you already know there's a question mark on whether he can cut it for Arsenal. For the expectation that Arsenal has, whether he can cut it, you already have question marks over that. Or else he would be playing. He would be playing a lot more than relying on, a battered and bruised Lacazette to keep slugging it out every game, which he has been. He's been doing a great job. But when does it switch psychologically? When does it switch? Because you can't ignore the fact every player plays with their mind, and eventually their mind is going to be, how much do I really want to put myself about and potentially take serious injury and knocks and affect my chances of, they're going to play hard until they get. So look, both of them, just give the worst case scenario. And I said it before, so I apologize to Arsenal fans. They probably hate me. I'm a pessimist, cynic. You call it negative. I love thinking of negatives, What if Nketiah signs a contract with another club next week, and so does Lacazette? Do they even need to play hard to get a contract or to impress other clubs?
No, they don't.
If I was
but
if I was Daniel Levy, I tell you what, I'll be begging some other clubs, just give them a contract right now, because those players will not give 110% once they got a contract with another club signed.
No, do you know the only reason why they were interested, I think, Isak and I think David or someone else, but some of the money that was being quoted for them, it was just ridiculous. So in that sense, I was glad the fact that we didn't go and spend ridiculous money on just good players.
I guarantee you one thing, Hassan. Whoever Arsenal buy in the forward position, unless it's someone who's not known, it's going to be for stupid money. Guess why? Every selling club knows how desperate Arsenal are for a striker. And guess who? Look at the caliber of strikers they're going for. I commend them on that. They are really going for top quality players. At least in terms of their scouting and their ambition is correct. They're not going for players that might not work out. They're going for guys that are the real deal, that are performing, that are scoring the numbers, that are playing well, have got a lot of resale value, young. So, no matter what, those players are going to cost money, because whoever sells to them knows how desperate they are now. they could potentially be in the summer with no recognized striker at the club. Well, they are going to be.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, until July when Balogun comes back from loan. Yeah, so everyone will know how desperate they are. Every club is going to add. Forget Newcastle prices. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be double. You know, if everyone was adding 3-4 mil for Newcastle, they're adding 10 mil for Arsenal right now.
So do you reckon they made a mistake in letting go of Aubameyang and they should have just forgiven and forget and carried on with him?
I don't think they made a mistake in the sense that I think it's reported if he stayed on his contract, it's costing them 15 mil.
No. It's
and if you're not going to use
around 30 million, I do.
Yeah, that's the original figures that I heard, but then afterwards, you know, I was told it's more actually likely 15 mil. But whichever one it is, 15 to 25 mil or 15 to 30 mil, let's say, it only would have been worth keeping him if Arteta was going to use him. But clearly, the relationship has broken to such a point.
You don't want him.
Yeah,
you don't want him.
Let's be honest. If it was, if you're looking at it from the club standpoint, yes, they should have kept him because you ain't got a striker, and your two strikers ahead of your main striker are running out of contract.
Yeah.
If you just look purely from a club standpoint, but when you look at the actual reality of the situation, it made sense to get rid of him because Arteta, you can't. I don't know the ins and outs. You can't really say he's been stubborn, but either way, it's a real breakdown to the point where, you know, he's not training with the players. He's not going to Dubai. It's such a breakdown that you left no other choice to leave it. Now, that's bad man management. It should never have, personally, it should never get to that point. But now that it has, you've done the right thing in getting rid of him. So just if you look at for Arteta, for Arsenal, for that relationship, yeah, right thing, sell him. But do you think, should they have got to that?
But do you think it's a real problem with Arsenal because it just seems to be keep happening? Like you look at it, right? You got Aubameyang situation, you had Ozil's situation. It seems like every year there's another player, or someone, so on, so forth. And then you look at the other side also. We buy a lot of players, and then you're selling them for free. I don't know how many transfers that we've let go literally for no resale value. Is there a problem not just with the management? I think there's a problem in the higher ups.
I'm not sure because I think a lot of those problems are inherited problems. The new system they got now is definitely much better than the old system in terms of the way they're recruiting, the way they're scouting, who they're going for. You can't not.
No, I'm not knocking it.
Especially when you look at if you look at right now, White. This just going from this summer. All right, I understand previous summer a lot of mistakes. Yes. But if we go by very recent history, which is last summer, didn't get anyone this window, so you can only go by last night. If we just stick to this season alone, White has been a good signing. Ramsdale has been a good signing. Tomiyasu, an excellent signing. Tavares, an excellent signing. The young midfielder, I've forgotten his name.
Lokonga.
Excellent signing. Lokonga, another good sign. So I think, you know, give them credit. I think the problem may be solved. And when you look at the players they're going for, is it realistic? That's the only question mark I have is, you know, Vlahovic was never really interested in leaving Italy. Everyone knew that. It was never on, really. But that's the thing. Are they only got a plan A and don't look at a plan B? Are they selling themselves short by having such a narrow list? As commendable as it is that they're going for the top names, it's not realistic.
But that was the other question. I mean, surely what was the backup to Vlahovic? Because I mean, once you find out, you still had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days.
And how long are you gonna stay negotiating with someone? How long are you gonna keep calling and not getting an answer back? Which is the rumors that
it
was flying around.
It was getting really silly because I mean,
was picking up the calls.
At one point, it was reported that Arsenal gave him a deadline until I think 5 days before the transfer.
Yeah, so what that shows you, I'll be honest, what that shows you is a bit of naivety. That at the end of the day, you could have as much negotiations with a club and with the chairman of a club and the chief exec of a club. it's the agents that control the transfer market nowadays. And as much as Fiorentina was happy with all the negotiations, you never managed to give enough money to the agent to get him to even respond.
Well, Arsenal always hardballing their
And
agents, so that's why, yeah.
you know, all of us will say it's not a good system that is run by agents and they're that powerful and they literally can hold clubs to ransom. But hey, that's FIFA's and UEFA's problem, not ours. You have to accept the reality that these guys are clubs within themselves. They become more powerful than clubs now. They control players. If you're not tapping up the agent, you got no chance of getting the player, unless your name is Klopp, who is the best at tapping up players. Even agents don't have control over their players when Klopp's interested in them.
I mean, would you say that the biggest losers out of the transfer window in terms of Arsenal? Considering the position they were at?
It's a hard one because they should have got someone in. I think even one signing would have lifted the players, the club, the feeling around the club. Just like Liverpool would have been a similar boat in the sense that, all right, they got, star-studded first 11.
Yeah.
So it would never have been that bad, but you could feel the fan base was getting a bit fed up that no transfers for the third window going. Arsenal, I think they should have even loaned someone, Jovic or someone, just to add a bit of excitement for the fans. They didn't, but they've clearly made headway in terms of getting rid of players. So I don't know. From the club's financial standpoint, probably been a great window. Not great, but a good window because those players were on high wages.
Yep.
For the fan base and the players, no, it's not been, it's been terrible, really. Especially when you've been teased the whole month with, all these really exceptional players and then you don't even get one of them even close. Not even one of them was close. Not one signing was close. That's the worst thing about it was, the Sky reporter outside Emirates wasted his day. Should ask for a refund because at the end of the day, they weren't even. I don't think there was even any negotiations for any players on the last day.
Well, I would highly doubt
it was.
I'd highly doubt it.
Yeah, as seen a few of the posts, Eddie was busy watching Sky Sports transfer talk rather than being involved in it.
Oh,
so,
God.
it's a shame.
Yeah.
I think where they end up will definitely answer the question. I do think this has messed up their chances of top four. I'm less confident they're going to get top four because I just think there's a lot of characters that have left the club. So if he manages to get the top four with this, that's an amazing achievement. Getting rid of so many players, first team, squad players.
But it's still. I mean, they got one game each week. I mean, you still got 18, 19 players, so it shouldn't be too much of an ask. I know it's hard, but yeah.
Look, man.
Why not be positive?
Yeah, well, I just think, you've done well. You've been in reality all this time. Arsenal. Don't spoil at the end. Yeah, it's still hard when you got two strikers that are out of contract.
Lacazette to score 15 goals, not joking.
Well, if you think about it, if anyone says to you your top four chances is based on Martinelli and Saka scoring enough, would you be confident?
No.
So that's just a difference, man. For me, that's the way I'm seeing it.
They're not at that level yet where they can really take the mantelpiece. I mean, they are currently obviously, but in terms of taking it to that next level, they still got development.
Look, everything's about form. I think with a young team, it's always about form. So if they start off with wins in the FA Cup, they're still in the FA Cup.
Yeah, we're out of everything. That's why I said one game a week.
So so one game. If they win those first few, then the confidence will be there with the young team. You might be able to get away with it. You'd think a bumpy ride would happen eventually, and that's where you're gonna feel the loss.
Currently, we are in a bumpy ride. We haven't won in January, so January finished. We're in February. We haven't won.
No one has won in February.
Well, no, as in You know what I meant. You know what I meant. Leave me alone. Right, let's move to Man City. Arteta's previous boss. I mean, Alvarez. What do you make of that signing?
In all honesty, haven't seen much, but he's got rave reviews. There's some markets where you know players are the next big star is always claimed, and you kind of you always doubt it. Argentinian league is quite safe because normally the stars that they rate are guys who actually end up having decent careers. Maybe not, it's never as highly as they say, but they're not bad players. You know, sometimes you'll get like Portuguese league does a lot, loves overhyping their players, and then some of them are just complete flops.
Yeah,
like that Martins, the guy everyone went on like he was the greatest player. Even if you think about João Felix and you see his real, the way he's performing and ability, he was never on Messi levels or anywhere near. So some leagues are good at hyping players and overhyping them just to get a sale. That's how the league works. From everything I've read, he seems like a very good striker, potential, promising player.
Does it fix the striking problem, or they're still going to be in the market in the summer?
If no, I mean they're still going to go for first choice, but it fixes the backup problem for a first choice striker, and it fixes it just means they can go for someone older, knowing that they got a guy who in a couple of years could take that slot. It just means they can maybe go for Kane or some, doesn't have to be a young Haaland, for example. It just gives them more options, but he's got very good ratings. He seems like a good player. I mean, look, if you're leading the line for River Plate, you must be a player.
Yeah.
Because the pressure at the club, the pressure at that club is just unbelievable. So, and he's playing for Argentina. So, I do think it's a good signing, and I'm sure Pep will improve him. Real question: is he better than the youngsters they already have? Because they've got superstars,
too many,
some real good players in their youth team already, in their reserve team already. I think that McAtee playing the false nine is the leading scorer of Premier League 2, but his contract ends in the summer.
McAtee's gone off on loan, I think.
Yeah, and I think his contract ends in the summer.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm sure they're going to get him to sign it.
Well, he's refusing to sign at the moment. They're struggling to get him to sign, but he was the leading scorer of Premier League 2, so yeah.
Interesting.
Another good piece of business, good window.
Yeah, smart. I mean, got rid of Torres for 55 million and bought on Alvarez for 14.
Yeah, they can't get bullied in the market now, can they? Because they're not that desperate. They got a guy who can.
Do you know what? This is the thing I admire about the way City do their business. I mean, it's just not real too much, rumors, this, that. It's just who they want, they go, boom, get him, and it's done. It's done before the transfers window started.
It's really efficient, really classy, isn't it?
Them and Chelsea are just, the way they operate is, and enviable. And then you got Arsenal on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. Everyone is playing catch up to City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. And if you look at it, those three are pretty efficient in the way they operate, in the way they do things. All three of them get the signings they want. They plan ahead. They're always a step ahead of the game. They're not getting bullied in the market, and that's reflected on the pitch. So it just shows how much when the outside of the pitch is right, how much that also helps on the pitch. And again, it makes sense because if they're so organized and well structured off the pitch, then they're going to make the right decisions for on the pitch. In terms of manager, in terms of players, which are all, if you look at Tottenham, United, Arsenal, they're still trying to figure out. They're still trying to master that approach. Hence why I kind of commend Arsenal now, because it seems like they're trying to do that approach, where they're sticking to the guys they want. They just need to get better at tapping up the agents.
Players, yeah.
They need to learn the dark arts a bit more. I think Edu is too honest.
In terms of obviously the other side of Manchester transfers, let's not do. I mean, I so badly want to talk about this topic. Greenwood. I mean, what on earth is he doing?
What can you say in it? It's just it's
Just ruined his career. He's literally
it's sad to see. It's sad to see a player ruin his career, but I try not to comment too much on these things because the way I see it is it's a real life issue. It's a human problem. Somewhere something has failed in the support system here. That's whether it's the upbringing, whether it's the support. So somewhere something's failed where a person can go and treat another human being in such a way. And yeah, it's a lesson and a reminder, and it's happened before. It will continue to happen. And yeah, no one.
It's just breaking down
the human values and human rights. At the end of the
day, they
who you are.
I think they're suspecting him for threats to kill and sexual assault as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's a devastating, but a good reminder for everyone. It's not really a Man United thing.
Yeah.
You look at Bernard Mendy, same thing. There's other players. You look at Robinho.
It's so many coming out nowadays. It just is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a real unfortunate situation for the victims, and when it comes to popular people and popular celebrities and players and sportsmen, everyone is shocked, but you forget about the victims in this. And for now, all I hope is the best wishes are for the victims, and somewhere hopefully there's a redemption for the people who have committed these mistakes.
It's just I mean, if we flip that, I mean, in terms of obviously that's Mason Greenwood out of the picture. You didn't let go of Lingard. Do you think United kind of need to go out and get someone to cover that?
Not really. That's the thing. Like, this is the nature of life, isn't it? We're talking about something so serious, and then let's get back to the football because the world moves on and life moves on. And in all seriousness, Sancho's going to be happy. He's going to be getting more game time. Don't mean it, just being a bit tongue-in-cheek, but like, let's be honest, there's going to be somebody benefiting from this situation, and that's how it is. That's the world we live in. There's no shame in that. At the end of the day, someone else's misfortune is another person's fortune. And when you think about it, they still have too many wingers, and the biggest thing about United letting go of Martial and not really going in for anyone in the wide attacking areas, the biggest confidence booster that is to Elanga, that he's now seriously considered a first team starter. Hence why they never felt the need to replace him, because if you think about it, they're still stacked in those positions, even with Greenwood out. You got Rashford who can play out wide, you got Elanga, you have Sancho still. The system, the way they're playing it, sometimes even Bruno's being forced to go out there. We know Pogba can play out on the left side. They've got other players, so I think the biggest confidence boost to loaning out Martial and Amad Diallo is to Elanga, that the manager sees him as his number one on the left side now. That's the big, but I just, you just hope Sancho takes this opportunity, doesn't get injured, and really shows what every fan was excited about. Really, it just feels like him not making the first team of the England, being the main guy for England in the Euros, and then coming to United and not getting. It just feels like a potential superstar has just dwindled. Someone so much excitement around, and we all saw what he was doing at Dortmund. So hopefully, this is a big opportunity for someone. You know, hopefully,
Oh, he needs to grab it with both hands, right? This is his chance.
I don't think he's been given enough chance. I'll be honest. The
Consistent
player
runner.
also needs the confidence of the manager. You can't keep coming in and out. You just need, sometimes you need to know you're going to be given a run of games, or else you're playing with too much pressure. So I hope he just gets given that confidence and is allowed to play in that position, a run of games, get his confidence going.
I mean, one thing I wanted to ask, I mean, there's a lot of United fans that crying out for like a DM or another midfielder. I mean, do you think that's something they should have looked at and addressed?
I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing about it is you're going to a system where you're playing two defensive mids. You still look so easy to, you know, for teams opposition to open you up, cut you open. Fred is just an inconsistent player. Why on earth are they not going for defensive mids? It's crazy. It's crazy the money the club and I just think everything about United in this transfer window reminds you of clubs that are really, you know, the has-beens. You know, you look at the way, you know, fans won't like it. You look at the way Everton are operating, the way, you know, Arsenal operating, the way Tottenham are operating. You know, they're all clubs struggling to find their way back up. And then you look at, you know, good example, Aston Villa, you know, Liverpool, Chelsea, you know, they're just going there and getting what they want, who they want. It's just a different vibe at the club. And, you know, this Matthew Judge guy, I don't understand. Like, it feels like Woodward has set United for failure. They've given so much power to this commercial operator. He's not even a chief exec. He's not even a lead. You know, why is a commercial operator also second role chief negotiator? It's like, what club have you ever heard that? It's crazy. The commercial operator is also now the head of your recruitment. I mean, what does that mean? It's crazy. And yeah, he couldn't even get defensive mid. You know, it's just it's glaring that United are struggling in midfield.
Yeah,
and all that means is somehow they think they are going to be able to fix Pogba and make Pogba be a defensive midfielder. I'm sorry, the only time it works with Pogba in midfield is when he has Kante. And Fred and McTominay are definitely no Kantes.
Even if you put
whoever the plus one is next to Pogba, get ready to do double shift.
Well, it's probably going to be McTominay, isn't it? Because
I know that it comes back to the same thing we were saying about us. Pogba's moving on.
Yeah.
Why are you planning with him so much? You know, get another midfielder in. Move on. Start planning for your future.
Do you reckon they'll regret the fact that they didn't get a midfielder in, and would that cost their chances of getting maybe top four?
It'll make it a lot harder. Definitely make it a lot harder, I think.
So
you know,
so out of the four, I do in terms of West Ham, United, Arsenal, Tottenham, who would you put favourite for the top four?
I said even before the window, I said Conte and Tottenham.
Yeah.
I said that before the window. I mean, that wasn't going to change. You know, a top manager, he's at least one thing you know is he is fixing the club.
Yeah.
You know, we have, you know, we come, have we spoken about Tottenham? We have, but you think about it, just getting rid of Dele Alli and Ndombele tells you everything about where Tottenham are going. Everything. They got rid of two guys who you knew just ain't ever going to fit the system. And Livy is always trying to mess around to make money out of them. And they got rid of him. Conte isn't messing about. Got rid of him. Got rid of Lo Celso. You know, big decisions, big signings. Not afraid to make it. It's just a different level.
Since we're talking about West Ham, I mean, do you reckon they'll regret the fact that they didn't bring another striker in? Because I mean, I think they went for Darwin Núñez.
The thing is, they're doing what Tottenham do. They seem to go for players right at the end of the transfer window to try and get them a bit cheaper. And again, they're going for the right profile of players, ambitious. You know, they're going for really good signings. You know, even Rafinha and
But
Philip, they're going for the players that all the top four guys are
Adi,
looking at.
do you reckon it's more of another one? They know maybe they're not going. It's more to like please the fans from the owners than anything.
No, I don't think so. I think they think their best chance of getting those players is if everyone else passes up on them and spends their money, and then they or like get them in on sneaky under the table while everyone's focusing on the other signing. Ooh, I've nicked Rafinha, and everyone's going cold on him. I think maybe that's the way they think they can compete, because let's be honest, I mean, those are players everyone's after.
Yeah.
Everyone's after those, you know, the players they're going for. Phillips, everyone wants him. You know, there's no club that won't want him in England. All the top clubs are after. Everyone wants Rafinha. All the European clubs got Rafinha. Bayern, you know, Barcelona. Everyone's after Rafinha. So I think maybe that's the reason why they left it late and they made moves late and they're trying to do things late, is because the profile of players they're competing with the elite now.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't think they have a problem paying the money. They probably have a problem convincing the player. And that's why they're doing things in a different way. Maybe. Either way, they did leave it too late.
Yeah. Quick touch up. Chelsea, no business. I mean, did they need anyone, do you reckon?
You know, the squad isn't like amazing. I mean, I think they could have done with. I think they definitely needed a left back.
Left back, yeah.
If Chilwell's out for the season, I mean, Alonso's been struggling defensively. Maybe the tweak that they did with Malang Sarr and Hudson-Odoi sharing that role.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they found a solution and they decided, okay, let's go with that solution, and maybe we're not so desperate for getting a left back.
I mean, that's definitely going to be an area they're going to strengthen in the summer, isn't it? Left back.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they again, just by going by what we've said, whoever they go for in the summer will be pretty much sealed and delivered before the transfer window opens. So I think they haven't got to that stage where they're fixed on who they wanted as their left back or who they wanted as a backup. So they just decided to, you know, stick with what they've got, do a tweak to the system. I think they're going to effectively play 4 at the back with a wing back system on one side.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to see them doing. And with Malang Sarr playing a bit more, so he can potentially cover left back on the ball if they need it. Let's see. And that's a prediction, I think. That's why they didn't go for left back.
I mean, even probably. I mean, well, Aspilicueta is there, but I thought they'd probably go for two fullbacks in January, really. But
yeah, and they look a bit light in midfield because, you know, Jorginho isn't the force he was last year. Kovacic keeps getting niggling injuries, so does Kante. I think, you know, Loftus-Cheek has done okay when he's played there, but their system is, you know, they're playing 2 all the time. So, you know, if the others are getting as injured as they are, how much do you want Loftus-Cheek being the main one?
Yeah,
alongside one of them, you know. So I thought they could have gone for midfielder too.
Still got Saul, don't forget. I mean, it seems like a lost man, but
yeah.
I mean, been an interesting transfer window. I mean, but disappointing one for me personally.
Yeah. I want to just touch up on some of the other, just a brief one. I think that Weghorst is a good signing.
Oh, for Burnley, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one else. A very good player. I think that's a good signing. Who else is there? You know, I think Watford getting Hodgson in needs to mention.
Oh,
They've definitely enhanced their chances
of staying up.
They could now survive. They're definitely more of a threat.
They got their.
I'm doubling down here because I was so certain Watford were getting relegated, and now they got Hodgson. I think I need to put it out there. I need to put it out there. They may survive. They've got they got a manager who knows what he's doing.
I mean, Wolves made the loan signing permanent, of Hwang.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So that wasn't anything special, but yeah.
There's nothing else really.
But yeah, I just thought, yeah, I wanted to save face with Watford fans, so just thought I need to get that in there. Potentially, they got. Well, I suppose that's the best thing of this transfer window. Is probably it's ignited the relegation scrap.
The Luton,
it looked kind of set.
The Luton in me is telling me I hope they go down definitely. So
yeah, no, but the Luton in me is hoping we meet them in the Prem.
I like that shout too. Maybe a year too ahead, but yeah.
No, but now I do think it's going to be more interesting now, the relegation fight.
Yeah, definitely.
With the signings Newcastle have made, and with
I think Newcastle will be safe. I think they're going to start picking up points. More balanced team, I think he's got now.
Yeah, but then I would say Watford are going to start picking up points under Hodgson. So then, you got Norwich, you got who started to hit a bit of form.
Exactly.
You got Burnley is the only one that, like, even though they haven't lost much, it seems like they keep drawing games they need to win. So are they going to get enough wins? And then Everton have taken a big risk.
When you think of it, you know what? It does seem really interesting. And you know what? Everton could easily just fall into it. Like,
yeah, that's why those signings are key. Dele Alli is going to lift that place.
Yeah.
Lampard is going to lift that place. So
he needs to. And they got Catalan back at the right time as well. So hopefully he can push it on.
Yeah, missing penalties and hitting the post.
Yeah. You're just upset probably about fantasy.
Because I kept him on my fantasy team.
I knew it. But I do thank you for coming on and joining us. For those of you watching, thank you for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and do leave your comments on what you think of the transfer window and who you thought was the best transfer and who you thought was the worst transfer and who lost out. Thank you.
Eriksen.
Oh, Eriksen, good one. Is that for you? Not safe bet. Sitting on the fence. You're sitting on the fence. Thank you.